So Mr. Fuller appears pro se, having terminated the representation of the Public Defender's Office and having represented to the court that he intends on proceeding without counsel. Is that correct, Mr. Fuller?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Mr. Fuller, the last time that we were in court, I went through the Aguelo advisement. 889. On the record, are you still intending to proceed without counsel today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've, on the record, you had previously waived your right to a jury trial, and that is still your intention?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So what's going to happen, Mr. Fuller, it is the people's burden of proof to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the charges against you, the allegations against you. In 22T10889, the unlawful display of license plates, the registration violation. Again. And those are both Class B traffic infractions. And then the driving after revocation prohibited is a Class 2 traffic offense, the possible penalty of 10 to 90 days in jail. And then in 22T, let's see. In 22T6283. It's the signal lamp violation, which is a Class B traffic infraction. The driving without a license, a Class A traffic infraction. The unregistered vehicle, a Class B traffic infraction. The no insurance, which is a Class 1 traffic offense. And the driving after revocation prohibited, which is a Class 2 traffic offense. The insurance has a mandatory $500 fine. And the Class 2 is a
I had insurance, Your Honor.
possible penalty. It's up to them to prove, if you have insurance now and you want to show,
Yeah, I had it then.
well then, okay, then you'll have to, that, you can present that in your defense. Okay. All right. And date of offense, July. So July 22nd of 2022 is the date of offense in 22T6283, November 29th, 2022, and 22T10889. So what's going to happen is the people will call their witnesses. You'll have an opportunity to cross-examine their witnesses. All right. Because you're representing yourself, as I indicated before, you are held to the same standards as an attorney in terms of improper questioning will not be permitted. And you follow the rules of procedure and rules of law. After the people have rested, you'll have an opportunity to present your case. You have the presumption of innocence. You have the presumption of innocence. You don't have to testify on your own behalf. Okay? If you don't testify on your own behalf, I can't consider that as any type of negative. But you do have the right to testify if you want to. You can also just make argument if you choose to make argument. If you do testify on your own behalf, the people will be able to cross-examine you. If you've been convicted of a felony, the people can disclose that felony. It can only be used as it bears upon your credibility. The same thing with any of their witnesses. If you're aware of any felony convictions, that too you can disclose to the jury. All right. $1,000. Do you have any questions before we go?
No, ma'am.
All righty.
We can raise the lights, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the people would move to admit People's Exhibit 1, the body worn camera at this time.
Any objection? Lawful objection? Any objection to them admitting, all right, body worn camera? So admitted.
Officer-
Exhibit 1.
Officer Spinelli, the footage we just watched, was it at or about 3300 Afternoon Circuit.
So I had observed the traffic offense on Afternoon Circle and pulled Mr. Fuller over on South Shelton near Valley High.
And is Mr. Fuller in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is.
Can you identify him with a piece of clothing he's wearing?
Yes, he's the gentleman in the light or medium blue t-shirt, 2 gold earrings.
Thank you. And at any time did he present proof of insurance
No,
to you yourself?
no,
At any time did he present proof of registration?
no,
At any time did he present proof of his license?
no.
How did you check if he had a license?
So I was able to find him in our law enforcement databases using the information that he did provide to me. I obtained a digital photograph of Mr. Fuller, who matched the person that's sitting in front of me right now. And then I was able to get his date of birth to run through our Department of Records.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may. Show Mr. Fuller what you're going to show her though, please.
What is this?
I'm showing the witness what's been pre-marked as People's Exhibit 2. Officer Spinelli, does Exhibit 2 purport to be a certified vehicle record from the Colorado DMV? First and second page.
First and second page.
Let me ask it this way. Is there a cover or is there the second page? Is there a signature that says the attached documents are true and correct, complete with a seal?
There is a seal on it, and I certify that the attached are true and correct copies as maintained by the Colorado Division of Motor Vehicles.
Do those records relate to the defendant, Daryl Fuller?
In what manner are you asking?
On the first page, is there a name that says?
There is
Daryl
a
Fuller?
name, yes, and the date of birth that I located for him, yes.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, the people would move to admit under Colorado Rules of Evidence 9024 self-authenticating document, the DMV records of defendant David Fuller.
Any objection?
I'd like to see it,
That's what's my question. Do y'all have a copy for him?
because,
I can print it out right now.
They're going to print one out for you, and I'm going to give you a minute.
my DMV record,
Um,
there'll be one out here.
Well, Mr. Fuller, just review what they've tendered.
Your Honor, I believe we're waiting on a possible objection.
Any objection?
Yes, I got an objection. You got this child support in here. They had to pay me back all this money. Why ain't that in here?
That it's a record, I'm assuming, when a driver's license is suspended for child support, regardless of
There was no driver's.
whether or not but your driving privileges are suspended for failure to pay child support. And so that's reflected on the Department of Motor Vehicles report, and that's why it's there. So admitted.
On the last 5 pages of the DMV record, what are the 3 words at the top of the page?
It's proof of service.
Thank you. And on the very bottom of the box there should be a signature box. How many of those have been signed?
It appears that 2 have been signed and 3 have not.
Thank you. Your Honor, let the record reflect that the defendant has been served proof of service that the license has been revoked.
And that's part of that DMV packet in Exhibit 2.
Yes, Your Honor.
Got an objection, man.
Um,
There's no license.
I understand that you're admitting that you don't have a driver's license.
I turned my license in 1999.
I understand that.
24 years ago.
I
He
understand.
can't charge me for not having a license.
Yes,
It's
he
proper.
can.
No, we can't.
Mr.
people.
Fuller,
I got
you and I are
you.
going to talk about it, and you'll have your opportunity, okay?
See, he's trying to bury me in.
Well, Mr. Fuller,
That's false.
I understand your objection. It is overruled. So it's admitted as part of the packet in Exhibit 2.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Fuller, do you have any questions for Officer Spinelli.
Yes, I do.
Okay, if you'll stand at the podium, sir, just so it can pick up on the record. Thank you, sir.
What law requires individual to get a license?
Your Honor, objection.
That's constitutional.
No,
She is not an expert in the law, so.
What she wrote me a ticket for?
No, Mr. Fuller,
Well, I'm gonna tell you this like this here.
but no.
There is no law that
Mr. Fuller,
requires me.
Mr. Fuller, we're going to follow procedure.
Okay,
And so you've
procedure.
asked a witness a question
What
that
law requires
she's-
her to?
she cited
me to get
you
around?
she cited you on your ticket under the Colorado Revised Statutes 42.4, 215, 42, 101, subsection 1,
Okay.
42, 3, 1, et cetera. Wait a minute. And those are the laws that she cited you
Okay,
for.
but the law I'm
Violating.
violating is my constitutional
Well,
right.
well, wait, and that's that's an argument, and it's not properly before this witness. I'll give you an opportunity to make argument when it's your case in chief, okay?
Okay.
Your question.
Now,
to this
see, the
witness-
reason why I asked that question, Your Honor, I don't carry I don't use a license.
I understand.
But she wrote me up for a license I didn't have. How can she write me for something I
Mr.
don't
Fuller,
use?
because I just explained to you.
That's not a good explanation, Your Honor.
I understand that, but the laws in the Colorado Revised Statutes.
But it does not
Requi-
supersede the
no, wait a minute.
Constitution in my right.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You and I, I'm going to allow you to make that argument on the record, and at the end of the trial, I'm going to rule. But she cited you according to what is contained
Okay,
in the Colorado Revised Statutes. And so that's a question properly before her, but the legal or constitutional argument is not properly made in front of this witness. So do you have any other?
so she
questions?
can't answer why she wrote me a ticket without a license.
She could
It's-
answer that. She
It's not
cited you.
required under any
Wait a
law.
minute. No.
That's what I'm
no.
like.
We're not
How is it
arguing. We're
required?
not arguing. We're not arguing.
That's not a state
She
law?
can answer the question as to what she cited you for.
Okay,
She can.
please answer that question.
Okay. So Officer Spinelli, what did you cite Mr. Fuller for? Need a copy of
It may be helpful just to have a copy of the full part of it.
if you can show Mr. Fuller what you're showing her, just to refresh her memory.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's,
It is tiny.
it is tiny.
Okay.
Okay.
So not fair to us elderly.
Right. On that day, sir, I did cite you for not having your lamps as required. Your license for drivers is required, drove a vehicle without a valid driver's license, failed to display registration and compulsory insurance. And those are the citations. Compulsory insurance. I'm sorry, it is tiny. And that's what I cited you for that day.
Okay, you said you stopped me for a lamp. Why did you tell me my tag didn't come back to anything that you recognized?
Well, I did stop you for the signal lamp
But
violation.
there was no lamp out. When I went to go pick up my car, there was no lamp out. I'm just telling you the facts.
You know what? You will have an opportunity to testify, but you're asking her why she pulled you over. And so her answer was you had a tail lamp out.
But she didn't say that at first. She said my tag didn't come back to nothing she recognized. Right?
We did say that during
Yes,
the
you
course
did,
of our
yeah.
conversation.
But you never even said that a light was out to me. You never even told me that. I didn't find that out till you wrote it on the ticket. So why would you make up a statement that you stopped me for a lamp being out and the lamp was not out?
Objection, Your Honor, badgering the witness.
Sorry.
Sustained.
I have no further questions.
All right. Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Officer Spinelli, you may step down.
Thank you,
And
Your
then
Honor.
Back to,
Okay, back to,
yes, and you are free to go.
thank you.
All right. Any other witnesses?
Your Honor, would you like us to call for the next case or should we rest?
I believe Mr. Fuller's arguments are the same for both cases.
Yes.
All right, so we'll call the witness
Officer,
in
yeah.
22T10889. And then, Mr. Fuller, I'll allow you to speak, to address both and any argument that you make, okay? All right, sir.
Your Honor, the people call Officer Zachary Forrester to the stand.
Come on up to the well and raise your right hand for me, please.
Um,
Wait a minute.
I don't know.
Oh, Okay, well, it's been a while. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, sir. Have a seat in the witness stand. Do you have body worn camera footage of this as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
It's not him.
Well, we'll see on the body worn camera. I know I've changed a lot in the last 4 years.
No, that's not him at all. There's a black guy to stop me.
Okay, Your Honor, at this time, the people would move to admit People's Exhibit 1 for case number 22T10889.
And that's the body worn camera footage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any lawful objection, Mr.
Yes,
Fuller?
ma'am. He didn't stop me. I never seen him at the track.
That was his body, he testified that that was his body worn camera
And him didn't have no
footage,
conversation. Me
and
and the
that
sergeant.
he signed the citation.
Your Honor.
He
He
signed
didn't
the
stop me.
citation, objection overruled.
So what did you stop me for? He don't know. He wasn't there. He showed up afterwards.
You're gonna be able to ask him, he issued the citation, so, and then go ahead.
Officer Forrester, at any time did the defendant,
But that's exhibit 1 in 22T10889.
yes, Your Honor, yes. Officer Forrester, at any time did
One.
the defendant furnish proof of registration?
No.
Proof of a license?
No.
And did he have plates attached to the rear of his vehicle?
To my knowledge, no.
Yes, he took them off. See, he wasn't there.
Officer Forrester, were you the one that ran the defendant's name for DMV purposes?
Yes.
And I'm showing the defense what's been pre-marked as People's Exhibit 2 certified DUS packet.
Not yet, though. He wasn't there.
Permission to approach.
Yes.
Officer Forrester, take a look at page, number 2. Does Exhibit 2 purport to be a certified vehicle record from the Colorado DMV?
Yes.
And does that second page have a signature and a seal certification from the DMV custodian of records?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. And on the first page, do the records relate to defendant Daryl Fuller?
Yes.
Go ahead and flip towards the back for me, please. And on the top of the page there, can you read the 3 words that are bold?
Proof of service?
Yes, and towards the bottom of the page, there should be a signature box. Can you tell the court how many of those proof of services have signatures on them?
Three of them have signatures. The rest say refused to sign.
Thank you, Officer Fuller. The people would move to admit Exhibit 2 under Colorado Rules of Evidence 9024, self-authenticating certified copies of public records.
Mr. Fuller, any legal objection?
Yes, he wasn't there.
The-
He wasn't there. I never seen him. It was a black sergeant and the other guy. He
Fuller?
might have been standing behind me, but he never confronted me, so he don't know.
And that's fine, Mr. Fuller. He testified that he was the officer that signed
And I
the
objected to
ticket.
testifying.
He testified that he was
He can't even
present.
tell me
He
what kind of shirt did I have?
testified that, that
I
was
suppose,
no-
yes.
proof of, registration or a valid license, that he himself ran your DMV record. That this was all his testimony, so
But
I
you
will.
can do that. You
I-
can do that after the fact.
He testified that he ran that, while he was on scene
You know,
and issued you the
the black
citation.
officer, the one that was dealing with me,
I understand. I saw that officer
he
speaking to
never
you.
left my side.
But
So
Mr.
he never
Fuller-
come up to me.
Mr. Fuller, anytime there's police involvement, you'll always find more than one officer. And
That's
each
right, more than
officer
one
that is
officer.
on
He
scene
did not
is
stop.
involved in the stuff.
He did not stop. me.
Objection overruled. I understand that. He did not pull you over first. Objection
He didn't pull me over
overruled,
at
so admitted.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Exhibit 2 is admitted. All right, Mr. Fuller, questions for Officer Forrester?
What state statute requires a person to have a driver's license?
I do not know the statute off the top of my head, but I do know it is a required statute.
Objection, Your Honor, that calls for the witness to be an expert in the law.
Well, he does cite. How do they know what to cite? I guess the proper question would be, how do you know what to cite somebody for?
We use reference guides for the exact statutes when it comes to driving under revoked or driving with or without a license.
Is it illegal to drive without a license?
Yes.
Since when?
I do not know the year, time, or date that it was illegal to drive.
So
without a
you
license.
telling me that free people have to waive their constitutional rights to get a license?
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
Okay, free people of the United States of America. I'm a military man, okay? Now, we have the common law to right to travel. You saying we don't? We have to go get your permission?
Mr. Fuller?
That's a fair question, Your Honor.
Ask him a question.
Just ask me a question. What law, what statute requires me to get your license to travel upon the public road?
You want to hand him to refresh
Yes.
his memory what he was cited with? Show Mr. Fuller. That was the copy of the ticket that
That's the
was,
ticket. I'm asking what law?
that it's cited on the ticket.
Okay.
Thank you. It would be Colorado Revised Statute 42-2-2061A.
Okay, you know that revised statute and that. So you telling me I got to waive my right, my constitutionally protected right, but you have a right to travel to get your license. And that's a question. Now, what law requires me to do that?
We're required to drive with a license.
I'm not required to drive. Driving. I travel. I told you that. I told him that.
Objection, badgering the witness.
Sustained. This.
Okay, is it against the law to travel?
This is your argument to the court. The witness has testified that he cited you under 42-2-206 subsection 1A of the Colorado Revised Statutes. He enforces the law,
Mm-hmm.
and your argument is a legal argument to the court, not to the witness. So you'll have to,
He's telling
I'll
me-
allow you to make your legal argument to the court.
He still ain't answered the first question I had. He said he didn't understand it. What law, what statute,
He-
what
he
statute
cited
requires me to go get your license and registration?
Cited you that statute.
That don't require me. That just is what he charged me with.
That under the law of the state of Colorado, under that law,
Is it a law or statute? You just said that.
the same. A law-
Okay, so what statute requires me to go get your license?
Let me get my 42, Title 42.
What statute?
I can give it.
On my
I can-
desk.
Give it to me. Bring it out.
Yeah. It's just
So you know,
22-1011, Your Honor.
so I got to waive my right to get that?
So, Mr. Fuller, you have a legal argument that you are dying to make to the court that is a U.S.
But-
Constitution versus state law argument. It is not, this officer did answer your question. He told you the statute. under
My
which you
problem
were
with
sitting.
him, he did not stop me. He come up to the traffic stop. I was stopped on Powers. We went to the behind the what was it? The whatchamacallit, then he showed up. So what was I stopped for? What was the reason the officer stopped me?
This is not, there's been no,
He can testify against me, Your Honor. He should know what I was stopped for. That's fair.
Mr. Fuller, this is not, there's been no request for a hearing for probable cause on this stop. Today is a trial as to whether or not you had unlawful display of your license plates, whether your vehicle was registered, or whether or not you were in fact driving after revocation prohibited.
See, that's what I don't understand, y'all. How can you revocate something that don't exist?
I understand you don't understand that.
You can't just sit here and start writing
Any
me
other
tickets
questions for this
for
witness?
licenses that I don't use.
Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right,
People rest.
all right, thank you. Mr. Fuller,
Yes, ma'am.
this is your opportunity to testify on your own behalf. You are not under you are under no obligation to testify. You do have the right to remain silent. It is the people's burden of proof to prove to the court beyond a reasonable doubt that you met the elements of the crimes as charged. If you take the stand, we'll get your testimony. If you want to make argument as opposed to testify, then you can rest your case and I'll allow you to make an argument and then they can reply to that argument.
Rest my case means I'm found guilty.
No, to rest your case means that you're leaving it up to the court to determine whether or not they met their burden of proof. But if you want to testify, then, okay, so if you're not going to testify, do you have any witnesses?
No, I don't.
Okay, so if you're not going, wait a minute, if you're not going to testify and you have no witnesses, then you are resting your case. However, I'll allow you to make argument. Okay, so I'm not going to silence you. I'll allow you to make argument. But how it goes is the people will start and then you can make argument and then they'll have a brief opportunity to respond to them. I am going to set time limits on everybody. So you each have 10 minutes total to argue to the court, and then I'm going to rule. And when I rule, it's not a back and forth. It's not an argument. It is a final ruling. You can always appeal my ruling, but it is not a back and forth. Closing argument to start.
Your Honor, I believe the people have met all of the elements of all of the charges provided. First, driving after revocation prohibited requires that the defendant in the state of Colorado out at or about the place charged, knowingly having had his license to drive revoked by the Department of Revenue based on a finding that he was a habitual traffic offender, operated a motor vehicle in the state while the revocation prohibiting such operation was in effect. We saw today on the body-worn camera that the defendant, in fact, did not have a valid license to drive, and we saw today in the DUR packets that he was served proof of service, knowing that his license had been revoked. Second, registration is unlawful to commit any of the following acts under 423.121A to operate or permit the operation upon a highway of a motor vehicle subject to registration under this article, or to possess or control a trailer coach or trailer that is not registered and does not display the number plates issued for such vehicle. We heard testimony and we saw that the defendant was cited and charged for not furnishing proof of registration to the officers when asked. Third, driving without a license under 422.101 requires that no person shall drive any motor vehicle upon a highway in the state unless such person has been issued a currently valid driver's or minor driver's license or an instruction permit by the department under this article. We saw today on the body-worn camera and heard the testimony of the officers that the defendant could not furnish such license, and we've seen in the certified records that the defendant did not have a valid license at the time he was driving. Next, insurance 424.14.091. No owner of a motor vehicle or low power scooter is required to be registered in this state shall operate the vehicle permitted to be operated on the public highways of the state when the owner has failed to have a complying policy or certificate of self-insurance in full force in effect as required by law. Again, we saw under the officer's testimony in the body-worn camera that the defendant failed to furnish insurance when asked by the officers and could not throughout the entire interaction. Next, single lamps and devices under 424.215.1. states that to be operated on a road, any motor vehicle may be equipped, and when required under this article, must be equipped with a stop lamp or lamps on the rear of that vehicle. We saw today from the testimony of the officers that the defendant's rear stop lamps were not operating, and that was the reason of the initial stop leading to the other charges. And finally, number plates furnished to be attached, except as provided in subsection 1A2 of this section, the owner shall attach the number plates assigned to a self-propelled vehicle to the vehicle with one in front and one in the rear. We heard today from officer testimony that the second stop was in fact due to the fact that the defendant did not have number plates attached to the rear of his vehicle, nor were those plates registered to anything once he furnished them from the interior of his vehicle. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all.
You know, he's referring to driving. Driving is making the public road your place of business
Wait,
for profit or
Talk
gain.
slowly because I take a lot of notes.
Driving is making the making the public road your place of business for profit or gain. I never did that. Now it says right here, private automobiles are not required by any law, code, or statute to be recorded. So I don't know what he's,
Where are you getting that?
where am I getting this?
Yeah.
This is Chicago v. Chicago Motor Coach.
You have a site for that?
A site, as in, I can show it to you. I can show you where I get it. The case law. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I understand what you're talking about now. Let me get it. Sorry, Your Honor. But see, they all refer to driving. Driving is making the public road your place of business for profit or gain. You using the public road for profit. Traveling, it's not required under any law. You don't have to have a license, registration, or anything. Chicago v. Chicago Motor Coach, 169 NE 221. The use of the highway for purposes of travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common fundamental right of which the public and individuals cannot rightfully be deprived of. They sitting there putting me in a CDL. I don't have a CDL anymore. Okay, Thompson v. Smith, 154 SE 579. The right of the citizen to travel upon the public highway and transportation and transport his property thereon, either by carriage or by automobile, is not a mere privilege which the city may prohibit or permit at will, but a common law right which he has under the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. See, I quit using the license in 1999. I never had this problem before until I come out here, and these prosecutors don't seem to understand the difference between travel and driving. There's two different things. So he want everybody to be drivers on the public road. So if you want me to get a driver's license, we got to set a contract, and I got to get paid. That's what a driving license is for. That's why you got truck drivers, bus drivers, the guys that drive the train. They get paid to be drivers. If you're going to tell me I got to go and get a driver's license because you say so or the state says so, you got to pay me for that. That's a contract. And the only way you can tell me I can't do it is you got to lawfully amend the Constitution. Well, I got to waive that right. I have not waived my rights. I still got the right, but you got to amend the United States Constitution.
Is that it?
Nope. And then you got Kit versus Delis, 357 US 116 125. The right to travel upon the travel is a part of liberty, which a citizen cannot be deprived without due process under the Fifth Amendment. Then you got Saturan versus Delis, 96 AP DC 287 225 F2D 983 at 941. The right to travel is well-established common right that does not owe its existence to the federal government. It is recognized by the courts as natural rights. And then, the states can't diminish my rights. They say, oh, you driving. I have not driven a car lawfully since 1999. I've traveled in a car. So you don't agree with that, Yanni? You're shaking your head.
I don't agree, but go ahead. I want
But
you to make-
that's federal, that's state, that's my right. See, to look, For free people have the common law and constitutional right to travel upon the roads and highways that are provided by the governments for that purpose. Licensing of drivers cannot be required of free people because taking on the restrictions of a license requires the surrender of an inalienable right. So I'm not giving up my rights. But you telling me I got to go get his license, so you forcing me to give up that right. My rights cannot be diminished by the state. It can't be diminished. And he's talking about the state. How's the state of Colorado going to tell me I got I never got a license from Colorado. I went to truck driver school out here, went back home, and then I never had a license in Colorado. So where are they getting this? That's called fraud because you can't revocate anything. You can't tell me, they can't tell me I just can't use the public road. Nobody, you don't own the public road. No state government entity has the power to allow or deny passage on the highways, byways, nor waterways transporting his vehicle or personal property for either recreation or business, but by being held subject to only local regulations, i.e. safety, caution, traffic lights, speed limits, etc. Travel is not a privilege requiring license, vehicle registrations, forced insurances. That's Chicago v. Chicago Motor Coach 337 ILL 200-169-NE22.
What's the year on that?
1929.
1929. No, it's been revived.
It's been overruled.
Yeah.
It has been
What they
overruled.
they still using.
Yep.
We still use it.
Right. Well, it has been overruled, but go ahead.
So you telling me we got to go and waive our rights to get your license?
I'll tell you in a minute.
So that's the waiving, that's,
Full argument. You have, 8, 9. You have,
okay.
3 minutes left.
Miranda versus Arizona. 834 US 436 1966. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which arbitrates them. So you overruled that one? That's been overruled? No, it ain't. You use it now. Miller v. US 230F 2D 486-489. The claim and exercise of constitutional rights cannot be converted into a crime. So you can't tell me I got to go get your license and charge me, oh, you driving without this. I don't drive, I travel everywhere I go. So you telling me I can't travel? I can't travel?
No, I'm not telling you anything.
Oh, well, why are you shaking your head? You know, I'm not trying to be mean. You know, you got the right to travel. You can't take that away. That is your basic common movement is travel. And you don't have to get permission from the state to travel.
I don't disagree that you can travel from state to state. Yep, that is a constitution.
And it doesn't require anything.
Well, right, you don't need permission.
A license is permission. What is it then, man?
Driving is different. Driving is a privilege. It's not a right.
That's right. I don't have to have that privilege. Traveling is a right. Traveling is a right.
And I
right.
suppose on your gear shift, there's a T instead of a D.
Ma'am?
Right.
I didn't hear you.
I said, I suppose on your gear shift, there's a T instead of a D.
Well, you got the right to travel. No license and registration is required. Right?
You have a minute left, and then I'll give you my ruling and cite to you
The fundamental right to travel
people
is not a privilege. It is a gift granted by your maker and restated by your founding fathers as unalienable, and it cannot be taken by any man. The government made laws or colors of law known as private codes, secrets, or statutes can't do it. So you telling me that y'all can make a law and I got to go and give up my right to go get that. I got one more. Freedom to travel is indeed an important aspect of the citizen's liberty, which we first concern with the extent of any to do which Congress has authorized the curtailment. Road. Kent versus Delis. 357 US 116-127. So you got to live. That's a right. You can't take my right.
And you are out of time.
Thank you.
You have 7 reserved, Mr. Chigo.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller, sir.
I have a few cases here for the defendant if he so wishes. So first, Your Honor, the 10th Circuit has consistently held that the fundamental right to travel applies only to interstate movement and not in intra-state travel. So within a state may be regulated under McGraw versus City of Oklahoma. Moreover, Colorado courts have repeatedly confirmed that driving is not a fundamental right. In Crocker versus Colorado Department of Revenue, one of the cases I just handed you, the Colorado Supreme Court held that, quote, the right to drive an automobile on the state highways does not rise to the status of a fundamental right. Similarly, in Mayo versus National Farmers Union Property and Casualty Company, that's 3833 P2D 54 1992. The court stated that household insurance exclusions did not infringe on travel rights because they, quote, at most inhabited, end quote, decisions to travel together by automobile, but imposed no constraint on separate travel by automobile or joint or separate travel by other means. Federal courts have agreed with the District Court of Colorado in Meisman versus Fremont County, in which noting that requiring driver's licenses is a valid exercise of the state's police power, and that conditions precedent to granting a driver's license, car registration, or license plates do not infringe on constitutional rights. And in that ruling, they were citing Supreme Court precedent Bell v. Burson, that is 402 U.S. 535, 1971. And Your Honor, would you like 3 copies?
I'm fine.
All right.
But Mr. Meisman was a defendant in this court as well on the lead charges. Mhm.
Well, we rest, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna go way back to this constitutional argument. We're gonna go back to the 10th Amendment here, which provides for certain enumerated rights as belonging to the federal government, which your stance is, Mr. Fuller. But there are also powers. So there are enumerated rights. There are also implied rights. Anything that's not enumerated or implied is reserved for the state governments, such as creating local governments, regulating interstate commerce, and that's within the state, creating and maintaining public schools, protecting public health and safety, regulating marriage and divorce, holding elections. There are also some exclusive federal powers, and there are some concurrent powers shared with the state. States have the authority under the 10th Amendment to regulate the operations of motor vehicles on highways, public roads within that state. No, I'm not. This is my ruling. You've been asking where it all comes from. I'm telling you where this all comes from. So the state requirements pertaining to licenses, registration, insurance are a valid exercise of the state's police power, and the authority of the state to enforce those statutes fall within the constitutional exercise of the state police power. And you are right. Traveling is a right. Traveling between states is a right, but driving is a privilege. And this state of Colorado, has the authority to enact laws regulating driving, including a license, registration, insurance, license plates, how they are displayed. And those are rightfully enacted by the state and necessary for public safety, and in order to respect the operations upon the highway of all motor vehicles. So it's not something everybody has to have, right? Everybody has to have a driver's license. It's a comprehensive scheme for licensing and regulating motor vehicles. Now, I went way back to 1914 to Hendrick v. State of Maryland, which is still good law and probably cited in all the cases that you've cited. And the Supreme Court said, a state may rightfully prescribe uniform regulations necessary for public safety and in order in respect to the operation upon its highway of all motor vehicles, those moving in interstate commerce as well as others. And to this end, it may require the registration of such vehicles, the licensing of their drivers, charging therefore reasonable fees graduated according to the horsepower of the engines, a practical measure of size, speed, and difficulty of control. This is but an exercise of the police power uniformly recognized as belonging to the states and essential to the preservation of the health, safety, and comfort of their citizens. So you remember when I said some of the powers reserved for the state, the protecting the public health and safety. So that is from our Constitution of the United States, allows the states to enact laws that protect public safety. And these regulations with regard to licensing and registration and insurance and the like does not constitute a direct and material burden on interstate commerce. So, Mr. Fuller, the laws of the state of Colorado, as cited in the citation you received, the court is finding were violated. They are laws that apply to you. They are laws that are constitutional. They are laws that the state of Colorado has enacted with permission from basically the Constitution of the United States because it protects the safety of its citizens. And therefore, the court is finding that in 22T10889, conviction enters for counts 1, unlawful display of a license plate. You repeatedly indicated to the officer that you showed a made-up license, but you did not have a Colorado state or any other state license plate affixed to the back of your that was a valid license plate with a valid registration, and that you drove your motor vehicle after.
Not registered, it can't be a motor vehicle, y'all.
Mr. Fuller, I appreciate your arguments, but they are flawed. That you continued to operate a motor vehicle after revocation of your license by the Department of Motor Vehicles was in effect. You had notice of that.
But I never had a license. Colorado can't revocate a license that don't exist.
Mr.
I've had a
Fuller,
license in 34 years.
your argument is flawed in that because you continued to drive and because you continued to pick up
I'm
points, even though you didn't have a valid license is not something that it's held and you put little checks on it. Even though you may have
I'm
turned your
not
license
understanding.
in, you had enough points that your driving
How do-
privileges
That's what I want to
were,
ask you.
your driving
How can-
privileges
How can I
were
obtain points when I have nothing to
revoked
obtain points
by
for?
the state of Colorado. According
to
to your
revoke?
DMV packet here, there is enough
Yeah.
in here to prove to this court that your license was in revocation
So
status
You revoked
and
it
that
with
you
ghost?
had notice of the revocation and either signed or refused to sign the notices and
There's no
proofs
license to
of
revocate.
service. So that when you were driving on November 29th of 2022 in El Paso County, Colorado, you failed to have properly affixed license plates. You failed to have a valid registration and prove valid registration for the vehicle, and that you were driving after revocation of your driving privileges by the state of Colorado had been invoked. In 22T6283, the court finds that on or about July 1st of 2022 in El Paso County, Colorado, you had a tail lamp that was not properly working in violation of 424215. You were driving without, and admittedly so, driving without a valid driver's license.
I don't use a license.
That you, according to the laws of state of Colorado, as conveyed or conferred upon them by the United States Constitution, you do have to have a driver's
So in
license.
other words, the state of Colorado.
You also
requires us to
fail to
a
have
contract.
your motor vehicle registered in violation of 423121. You failed to provide a valid policy of insurance to the officers. You said you had it, but
I
the
showed
law,
it to her
the law is that
on
you
the phone.
provide proof.
She said it was no good. It was on the phone.
There was nothing on the body camera footage that indicated that. You said to her, I'm not going
I
to show
showed
you.
her when I
You
was
you
standing
said to
over.
her, I don't have to show you.
I don't have
you
to show it
said-
to her, but I showed it
You
to
said,
her.
I
She said,
don't
"You
need a license. That's a fucking right, lady. You got to learn the law. Would not show her insurance, although he said he had it.
Okay.
And that's how that
So
body
in other
cam
words,
footage
Your Honor,
went
we're
down.
required by law to contract with the state to use the public road. that we
And
pay.
then you also, I'm finding that again, in violation of 422206, subsection 1A, you operated your motor vehicle after revocation was in effect by the state of Colorado and that you had proper notice.
Yeah.
And I know you're not debating that. So
No, but I got a question for you. When is the revocation gonna be lifted?
you have to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles and ask them what the status of your license is and what it would take for you to get a license. I can tell you now, you just amassed a whole host of points. So I would venture to guess you
But
just
this is-
put
this is
yourself
the
in a
problem, gentlemen.
situation.
I haven't had a license since I come from Iraq.
I understand that, but you must have a valid, if you live in the state of Colorado, or if you're going to be, you must have a valid driver's license. If you are a resident of the state of Colorado, you must have a
I
valid
got
Colorado
engaged in
driver's license.
Transportation and commerce in the state of Colorado. For no money.
You are citing a definition that is not recognized by this court or any court
But it's still
of
driving,
law.
right? Yeah?
If you're arguing that it is a commerce clause argument, however,
But regardless, Your Honor, it's still a contract,
that
right?
it is not a contract
So I don't have to go to
for
the.
financial gain. If you need a driver's license in the state of Colorado, whether you're visiting Aunt May or going to the store or going to court
It's
or
free,
going to
right?
work,
It's free, right?
it is not, and it does not have
If I
to
got
be
to
free.
sign my name to it, you know that's a contract.
The state of Colorado has the authority, as I've repeatedly cited, to enact laws that require a driver's license in the state of Colorado. And so for that reason, Mr. Fuller, I appreciate your arguments. It is not an argument that will get you anywhere but
I see that.
into trouble. And I think, I'm not a DMV, like what their regulations are, but I think because this occurred in 2022, I think these points go back to 2022.
they-
so-
yeah.
And so you may be able to apply for a Colorado driver's license despite these convictions because it went back to 2022.
But. So they still points on a license I don't have.
It's on your driving
It's-
privilege. It's on your driving privileges. And in order to exercise that privilege, you need your license.
So I got to get a license.
Yes,
Okay.
but that privilege,
No,
the consequences still exist.
I've never had a license since I was, what, 19 years old?
I can tell you, I would,
And why
I don't
all of
know
a
that
sudden,
that's
is it a money grab for the state
true.
or what? Because I've never had this
Well,
problem before.
And look at your driving record. So,
It-
so if you have a copy, he gave you a copy of that?
Ma'am, can you
I
tell me,
suggest for your reading this evening.
did you
your
see what a driving record
earliest
is at, right?
conviction, your earliest conviction in May of 2016 was driving when your license was under restraint, suspended, and that was here in Colorado.
That's right. Everything has been in here
Um,
in Colorado.
Well, you've got a conviction in North Carolina for driving with a revoked license. You've
don't know where
got
that
a
comes
failure to appear in North Carolina. You've got to have failed to answer a citation in New Mexico. Then you've got a failure to appear in North Carolina, failure to appear in California, defective brakes, speeding, expired or no non-commercial driver's license in Illinois
What year was that?
in 1999.
Yeah. That's the last year I
Yeah.
had my license.
Right, and then in North
They took 'em away.
Carolina, back in 1984, you driving wrong way, expired license in 1991 from North Carolina. So, Mr. Fuller, I appreciate your argument, and you may not have had a license, but it does not mean in any way, shape, or form that you were not required under the laws of the state of Colorado to have a
What you're saying is
license.
the state's gonna force me to get something I don't need.
But you do need it, and
Now-
you don't have to take my word for it. These
Well, I'm not
convictions are
arguing with you. I'm
entering.
just, you telling me what I need.
But I
I'm
have
just
another,
saying,
another case.
from point A to point B requires nothing
It requires a license.
in the state of Colorado, because this is where all my trouble started, right here.
Well, in every state, I grew up in Ohio, I had to have a license.
Your Honor, I've been stopped in a lot of states a lot of times and never had a problem.
Well,
They just-
maybe
okay.
Colorado's just not the place for you.
Colorado, that's right. You might be right, ma'am. You might be right.
But I would, in a week or so, contact the Department of Motor Vehicles and ask them what the status of your license is.
Okay, you said I should do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I'm, so I'm gonna set a sentencing date for
Okay.
this, and you, when you come back to court, I'm gonna, because yeah, because you are going to be on some type of probation and required to get a license. So I'm gonna give you some time.
You can require me to get a
Yeah,
license?
I can make it as a condition of probation, or I can sentence.
So now what if I don't qualify for the condition of the probation?
I
to
know,
get a
well,
license?
that's why I'm gonna give you some time to figure that out, and we're gonna come back here on for sentencing on June 9, June 9 at 9:30,
June 9th is
9:30 AM, June, so 6/9 at 9:30 AM.
9308. You know now, Your Honor, they got that, you got to call and make a reservation.
I'm not telling you to get a license by then.
But
I want you to
even-
just contact them and see what.
Even if I do contact them, it still takes that. And I was trying to get my MVR before I came here, but I ain't got an appointment
Well,
till.
maybe these guys
next
can
month.
pull up a more current one on that day, and we can, if you can't get in with the DMV, they might have some information for you, okay? But after this, today's
I can show you on
conviction.
there what the requirements are.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Yes, ma'am. You have a good day. Your
You
Honor.
too, sir.